What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 286 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Again, today's episode is number 286. And it is entitled, I Was Not Your Choice. This topic came up as I was traveling around the past few weeks and doing groups in a couple of rehabs and homeless shelters and also public meetings. The topic kept coming up over and over again, this topic of I wasn't chosen, I wasn't good enough, things like that. I was going to do a walkabout park episode, but I really found myself as I was thinking about putting this together, sitting on a bench, looking at the sea, and talking to myself about this topic. So I'm going to do a talk about today rather than a walkabout. And talk about just meaning I'm not going to give you steps to change anything or a system to use. I'm just going to talk about the things that I heard over these meetings in the past few weeks. And I hope they can touch each of the listeners. And I hope as they touch you that you'll, give me feedback. So again, the topic is I was not your choice. And being chosen is a thing that I guess all of us have experienced sometime, but not being their choice. Those of us who've experienced that personally, it's deep. So let me talk about what it feels like when we're being chosen. Well, when someone chooses us, it validates our effort, it validates our skill. They'll often say, good try, yeah, I want you on my team. Or you get recognized, you as a person, not so much what you did, but they just recognize you and say, I want to be your friend or what have you. And this boosts your confidence, makes you feel special, makes you feel important. And you get this sense of knowing that you belong. But also there's residual effects of this, and that is as those good things happen to you when you're being chosen, it really increases your social skills and ability in future relationships. And being chosen young, it can set you up for the rest of your life with good social skills and the ability to make and keep friends and deep relationships. But when you know you weren't someone's choice, it sets you up for the opposite of all those things and more. So let's get into the I was not your choice part of this. The first thing that you can feel, people wanted to talk about, was they feel unwanted. They have low self-esteem. That when they realize they're not their choice, they just isolate and stop trying and reach the point where they're the people saying, look, I'm not going to reach out to them until they reach out to me. So they're really focused just on themselves and how they feel unimportant at this time. And I had one person say, I hate being plan B. And I said that to my ex-boyfriend, I hate being your plan B. Wow, can you feel that aspect of being unwanted? Other people in the groups called it being rejected. One woman shared that her dad wanted a son, so she became a tomboy, and how that affected her life to this very day. And she was just starting to find the beginning of healing to that through the group that we were talking about just last week. And I had another person say, well, I was rejected also. I was not their choice. But I'm actually thankful for those who didn't choose me. Because of them, I learned to do things for myself. So I may not have learned the social skills, but I learned how to step out and do things for myself. The next thing I heard over and over again was the feeling of being betrayed. That people used words like, yeah, I'm just not valued. Others said, I'm not supported or I'm not protected. One person shared about being molested and the family didn't believe them. And so they never told anybody else. So the topics that I kept hearing around this not being chosen talked about unresolved trauma that happens because they feel fear. I heard a lot of people talking about fear and anger, and then other people talking more. I was powerless, I was helpless, I was hopeless. I couldn't do anything about it. So I totally withdrew into my own world to get safe. So it can go any way, and hopefully you guys are catching this. Lots of people dealing with this issue. And I can say, as we're going through this, if you have felt that I was not your choice, I may have been your son, I may have been your daughter, I may have been your girlfriend, boyfriend, your spouse, but then you made it clear I was not your choice. That it means the person who didn't choose you failed to notice what you have to offer. And I just want to encourage you all as we're going through this to realize that we all have good stuff to offer. And the wound is real of not being chosen, but it doesn't mean we're never going to be chosen. And that ties right into the next set of things I heard from people that are saying, you know what, I wasn't chosen and I knew I was unloved, so I began feeling unlovable and unworthy of love. And I didn't believe anybody who said they loved me, figured they all had ulterior motives. They were out to use me. So I ended up being a person who am addicted to seeking validation and affirmation. It can be meaningless stuff, but to me, it feels like I'm loved. And I actually am a doubter of people loving me because I just can't believe anymore. But I do seek these little words of affirmation because they feel like I'm being chosen. Another area of people talking about being unchosen was around the idea of being abandoned. And they said, I knew I was not my parents' choice. They left me alone all day. They had me take care of myself, cook my own meals, because they said they were working too long of an hour, but they were working, they were going out, they were seeing other friends. Others said, yeah, my parents were just involved in church stuff. My dad was a pastor, and I felt more than just the PK, the pastor's kid. I felt abandoned because he had to make everybody else feel that they were chosen and he loved them. And I was emotionally neglected and left by myself, doubting and untrusting. Oh, in closing, all of this stuff of knowing you were not someone's choice can leave you wounded in a way that you become unable to receive love, that you fear vulnerability, you don't want to risk another heartbreak, or can leave you in a position where you don't know how to give love. And you feel intimidated because you may have both going on. You may not know how to receive it and you don't know how to give it. So the whole issue of love can become a real tough thing. And I've met other people who've just become the dominant one. They need to be in control of love. They use manipulation and deception and power plays to stay in control of love. I guess the key for me is, as I close off this episode, if you've heard the words, I was not your choice, come out of your mouth, or if you've heard someone say, you're not my choice, you're not my son, you're not my daughter, or just, I'm too busy, I don't have time for you, whatever it might be, I want to encourage you to reach out and get in touch with someone by joining a group or talking to a good friend. I'm finding tons of people have been there. So there may be someone in groups you're already attending who would identify with this podcast episode. So play it with them to talk about it. If you'd like to contact me, you can do so at the message link in this podcast or by email at davidfroma2d@gmail.com, or go to my website, www.froma2d.org, and click on the contact page. Keep listening to future podcast episodes, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.